Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to see the introduction on approximate analysis of multi-storied frame in subject structural analysis 2. Okay. The introduction of approximate analysis of multi-storied frame. Now, the analysis of multi-storied frames or structures involves more numbers of unknown and different material property. Hence, for such analysis, it becomes necessary to perform some approximate analysis. As we know that in multi-storied structure involves more unknowns, and also the material properties of different materials are different. So for such cases, it is better to analyze it or to perform some approximate analysis. In approximate method of analysis, what we do, the statically indeterminate structure is converted to statically determinate structure by making approximate analysis, by making approximate assumption and then analyze for the number of forces using law of statics. Okay. Now here, as everybody knows that what is indeterminate structure. What is indeterminate structure? The structure which cannot be analyzed by using equation of equilibrium or law of statics. Okay. So those structure is first converted into statically determinate structure. Okay. And how it is converted? By making some approximate assumptions. Some assumptions are made in different methods. Okay. Now, when that structure is become statically determinate, then it is very easy to analyze by law of statics. Okay. So in approximate method of analysis, what we do, the statically indeterminate structure is converted to statically determinate structure by making approximate assumption and then analyze for member forces using law of statics. Okay, so this is very important now. Very important. In approximate method of analysis, statically indeterminate structure is converted into statically determinate structure by making approximate assumption and then analyze for member forces using law of statics. Okay. Hope now you will able to know what doing by approximate analysis now. Okay. Now there are some methods of approximate method of analysis. Now this method depends on whether the load, how the load is acting. Now in this frame, if you see now here, here two loads are acting. One is 60 kilonewton, other is 30 kilonewton. So how these loads are acting? They are acting horizontal load on this frame. Okay. So if the horizontal loads are acting, then there are two methods. One is Portal method and second one is cantilever method. Okay. So these are the methods used when the multi-storied frame is subjected to horizontal load. Okay. Now the second method for the vertical load. Now on this beam, what will be the vertical load? Yes, the vertical load will be what? The vertical load will be of what? It will be of live load, dead load. Yes or no? That will be the vertical load. Okay. So for that, we use the method that is substitute frame method. Okay. So substitute frame method is used. Okay. In this way, if the horizontal loads are acting, then we use Portal method, cantilever method, and if vertical loads are there, then we use substitute frame method. Okay. Now here we have seen what is approximate method of analysis and what are the different methods. Okay. Now we'll see the first method, that is Portal method. Okay. Now in Portal method, first we'll see the introduction. It is used for analysis of building frames subjected to a lateral loading. Now here, what is the lateral loading now? Lateral loading is nothing but when it is subjected to horizontal load. Okay. Second point is more approximate to low-rise building. Now this is important now. Low-rise building. What is low-rise building now? Low rise building means height is less than the width. Okay, when the height is less than the width, then we use then that building we call it as a low rise building. Okay, when the height, now here if you see here now, so this much is the width of this frame or width of that multi-storied frame, and this much is the height. So this building is what now? It is a low rise building. Why it is low rise building? Because height is less than the width of the frame. Okay, so this type of frame is called as what? Low rise building. Okay, so here Porter method is used for what? Lateral loading, or we can also say it as a horizontal loading, and the result are more appropriate to the low rise building frames. Okay, now in Porter method there are some assumptions. Now what are those assumptions? Now this is why these assumptions are very important while solving the numerical problem on Porter method. Okay, or by solving the numerical problem by using Porter method. Okay, now what is the first assumption? Now the first assumption is an point of contraflexure is located at center of each column and B. Okay, now what is the meaning of this now? Now for example, if this is the beam now, okay, we can name that beam as what? For example, we name this A and we name it as B, beam AB. Okay, now here for beam AB, where will be the point of contraflexure? They have mentioned, what they have mentioned, and point of contraflexure is located at the center of each beam and column. Each beam, I'm here, this word each is very important. Okay, now here where will be the point of contraflexure? The point of contraflexure will be at the center of this beam AB. Okay, now what is the meaning of contraflexure? Contraflexure is nothing but where the bending moment value is 0, or where the bending moment is changing its sign from positive to negative. Okay, now for example, for this column now, we'll name this column as what? C, suppose AC. This column is AC. Now where is the point of contraflexure? The point of contraflexure is at the center here. Is that clear? Now for each and every column you have to locate the point of contraflexure or denote the point of contraflexure, and you have to name that point or node. Okay, you can name it by as like this. You can name this as 1, this as 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, okay, 8, sorry here, sorry. Okay, again we'll name it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, likewise. Now here one thing you have to remember that now this is a indeterminate frame. Now this frame is made first determinant, and whatever the forces are there, member forces are, they are find out by using law of static. Now for example here now if you see this assumption now, second assumption, the horizontal shear is divided among all the columns on the basis that each interior column takes twice as much as exterior column. Now here, now this is the, which column is this? Exterior column. This is exterior column, yes or no? So these two will become what now? These two will become interior column. Okay, is that clear now? These two are the exterior column, this two is the interior column. Okay, now what they have said? Horizontal shear is divided among all the column on the basis that each interior column takes twice as much as exterior column. So here if you take for the exterior column horizontal shear as H, then for interior column it will be 2H. Is that clear? This is our second assumption. This assumption is very, very important. From this now we can find out value of H. Okay, then consider this joint, then find out these forces by using law of statics. So in this way that indeterminate structure is converted into determinate structure. Okay, this was regarding portal method. Now we'll see the second method, that is cantilever method. Okay, now this cantilever method is also used for what? Lateral method, analysis of building frame subjected to lateral load. Okay, now here second point is more appropriate to high rise building frames. Now what is high rise building? Now here height is more than the width of the frame. Okay, that building is called as high rise building. Okay, now what are the assumptions now? The assumptions of cantilever method. First assumption now, assume that building frames act like a cantilever beam with columns are the longitudinal fiber of a beam. Getting or not? Assume that building frame act like a cantilever beam. So whatever the frame is there, building frame, that it act like a cantilever beam, and the column are the longitudinal fiber of the beam. These columns are the longitudinal fibers of the beam. Okay, this is the first assumption. Second, and point of contraflexure is located at the center of each column and beam, that we have seen in the last method. Okay, so point of contraflexure is located at the center of each beam and column. Okay, that clear? Okay. Now second, axial force in column. Axial force in column, here for this column, what is axial force? V1. For this V2, V3, V4. Okay. Now axial force in column is proportional to its distance from the centroid and area of the column group at that level. Okay. Now here these are the four columns at that level. So here there is a ratio. What is that ratio? Stress upon distance from the CG. Okay. Now what is stress now? Stress is nothing but force upon area and distance from the CG. CG is nothing but what? X1 bar. Yes or no? X1 bar, this is X1 bar, this is X2 bar, X3 bar and X4 bar. That is nothing but distance from the CG. Okay. So ratio is what? Stress upon area divided by distance from the CG. Okay. So here stress is nothing but force upon area. So what is the axial force here? V1. What is the area? A1. Okay. Then V2 upon A2 upon X2. Okay. So this is the second assumption. So it will be more clear when we solve the numerical problem. Now the last method is the substitute frame method. Now this method is used for the analysis of vertical loading. It is used for analysis of the vertical loading. Okay. Now in this method only a part of frame is considered, is called as substitute frame. In this method only a part is considered. For example, if I want to analyze this much, so this much part we can consider and it can be analyzed. Okay. So it is assumed that movement transfer from one floor to another floor are same or negligible. Whatever the movement is transferred from one floor to another floor, that is same or negligible. Okay, and this one is important. Each floor will be taken as connected to column above and below with their end fixed. For example, if you are considering this floor, so here whatever the columns are there, they are fixed above and below. This is the assumption. Okay, and the next one is what? Vertical load combination. Now vertical load combination, dead load plus live load. Okay, that is the vertical load used to determine the maximum positive and negative bending moment at joint and span. For example, we can find out the maximum moment at point F, and we can find out maximum positive and negative bending moment in span EF as well as EH. Okay, by considering the different loading condition, that is dead load plus live. Okay. So this is the substitute frame method. Now substitute frame method is used for analysis of vertical loading. Okay. Now in exam, in university exam, up till now they have not asked any numerical on substitute frame method. They are asking the numerical on portal frame and cantilever method. So we'll solve more problems on portal method and cantilever method. Okay. So thank you for watching this.